Most creators won't survive AI, and it's got nothing to do with their looks. My name is Liam Turnbull, CEO here at TDM, and in the last 5 years, we've grown over 100 creators to the top 0.1%. And today we're going to have a look, as a creator, how you can become AI-proof. You see, with OnlyFans, the problem isn't that creators aren't working hard. The problem is that creators are interchangeable. There is no difference from one creator to the next. Whether it's the same outfits, the same background, the same trending audio, the same trends as a whole, the same poses, everything about the majority of creators is the same or at least similar. And so if we removed usernames, you genuinely wouldn't be able to tell who is who. And the difficult thing is that AI is already able to generate each of these things individually, whether it's thirst traps, lots of different outfits, a certain type of outfitting, audio, dancing, pictures, hair colors. Every single one of these individual components that goes into things that creators typically look at for creating content, AI has the ability to do. And in a world where creators are trying to do as much of this as they possibly can, they are in a very difficult position because not only can AI do everything that they can do, but AI is always going to be able to outperform them on volume and likely at a better marginal cost. Meaning that these creators were already replaceable. The only difference is they're now replaceable by something more powerful that will likely happen at a faster rate. It's inevitable that a creator who produces the same content will inevitably be pushed out of the market by new upcoming creators and or better branded creators. So they were already replaceable. AI hasn't changed anything. The difference is now they are just going to be replaced quicker and forever. And so in a world where we're now competing not just with other creators, but with software as well, you really have to ask yourself, are you AI proof? And the vast majority of creators that don't have a brand aren't. This is where the psychology becomes incredibly important because we have to start thinking not about what to post, but about how we are remembered. What helps the person watching the content to recognize you from your last video? So if we're in a world where the only thing we consider is what we should post, we are really no different to any other creator and or AI, because AI has the ability to think of something to post, mimic what's working on the platform already. However, what it can't do is help somebody else recognize you as an individual. And that in itself is an AI-proofed method. So the actionable step here for you is to strip your page back, not to what's popular, but to what makes you different from the next creator. And a lot of the time that comes down to a well-positioned niche and a well-positioned brand. Now, in order to understand how to execute on those, we have to understand how they're different. Niche, as we've mentioned in many videos, is the subsection of the market that you are either a part of, a niche that you have chosen, a niche that you have hereditarily been assigned to. For example, if you are older and male, well, hey, you're in your niche. If you've transitioned from male to female, hey, you're in your niche. If you're 7'4", hey, you're already in your niche. But if none of those apply and there isn't anything else about you that hereditarily has assigned you to your niche, then it really is a case of having a think about, what am I passionate about? What are my hobbies, my interests? What talents do I have? Are there any previous occupations or unique things about me that are going to allow me to pick a part of the industry that I suit and that my content would perform well in? However, niche merely gives you access. It does not give you leverage. So by becoming an e-girl, by playing games and being a gamer, by being tall or short, you aren't already in a position where you have leverage. You aren't already in a position where you have built your own brand. You've just decided which section of the market you've either been assigned or chosen to. So what we then have to do is think about what makes us different within that. So within the gamer niche, well, what are you going to do to stand out from the other tens of thousands of content creators that are all playing games? Because remember, there is only so much market share, even if it is a bigger one. So how are you going to distinguish the difference between you and them? In a world where there is a small total market access, you are competing amongst less people, but you're competing for less eyeballs. In a world where there is a bigger market, you are competing with more people, but there are more eyeballs. So at no stage does the niche that you pick determine how important it is to be different. It is an absolute mandatory step for every single content creator ever. I just want to stress an important clarification, which is that I think it is actually possible to perform really well without the need for a niche. Now, it's certainly the exception rather than the rule, and adopting a niche is without doubt going to make your life easier. But if you are natively a very polarizing and attention grabbing figure, and you naturally find that people tend to recognize and remember you, then you may be one of the few that are able to essentially operate without a niche. There are quite a number of successful creators, in fact, that have done really well, and they aren't necessarily attributed to a niche. Now, it might be that they were just early adopters of a super viral trend. It might be that fortune landed in their favor, or it might just be that they had a personality that conveyed so much unique interest and such a unique offering and proposition to the market that it naturally became recognizable and rememberable. And oftentimes, if you pair that with an incredibly high threshold of content output, then all of a sudden we're in a world where I do believe you can just win on volume. But it's few and far between. I suppose the way that I look at it is that nicheless content is just shouting out into a crowd and hoping that somebody will reply, whereas niched content is pinpointing somebody and starting a conversation. You're much more likely to get the feedback that you expect rather than just throwing something out and hoping that something will come back. In 2026, high quality content does not protect you. Trends do not protect you. The only moat that you've got around your own stable income is in fact the recognizability and connection that you can offer through memorable content. AI will replace the rest, right? So we're in a world again where we fall back to the only thing that makes you different is your brand. There's a theme here, and I'd be on about it in most videos because I believe it's the difference. It's the difference between those that struggle and those that don't. It's the difference between our creators that kill it and our creators that don't. It's the difference between you guys that message me saying you're doing well and you guys that message me saying you aren't. On OnlyFans in 2026, people do not pay for content. Okay, they kind of paid for content a couple of years ago, not in the same way that they would in IRL services or porn, but they kind of paid for it a little bit in OnlyFans. In 2026, that they really don't. They pay for that feeling that they know someone, the memorability, the recognizability, the connection. You know, it is simply that feeling that they know you. And so if all you're doing is the same thing that the AI creators are doing, then you will just be another one of them in the eyes of the customers that look for something different. And there's many examples of this as well, you know, from Sophie Rain being in a very boring niche, in fact, you know, Latina, teen, virgin, same story, different creator, but actually her name became her brand and it became recognizable. You know, I always use these same creators on the channel, but I think it's because I know you guys know it now. Jellybean, Hamilis Smith, you know, the creator that by niche is not exactly exciting. She's short, she's Latin, she's, again, possibly a teen, you could say. She's a porn star. Again, by nature of her niche, she sucks. By nature of her brand, she crushes it, right? Because of the recognizability, not of her brand, not of her name like Sophie, but of her content and her outlandish way of, you know, beating up cars and doing crazy stuff initially, but then more recently, you know, things like her smile, they start to create serious recognizability that I feel I would really struggle to not recognize a Jellybean video in 2025, right? So we have to understand that each and every one of these creators has kind of basically evidenced their entire success story off the premise of what this is, which is build a brand to not become AI-proof, because the reason they remember you is different to the reason why they wouldn't typically remember other creators in your niche. Okay, it's the same reason that streamers will earn more on the platform than short form creators, because it's not just the body that they're interested in, it's the personality that they've learnt to love in the time that they've spent with them on stream. One of the things that you can do to try and get more familiar with what this looks like for you is to just ask people around you. You know, when I always say when you're thinking about your niche, you should think about what you get up to. You know, so like hobbies, interests, talents, occupations, that kind of thing. But then in terms of the brand, it's what makes you different. And oftentimes you don't know what that is, because we as people are essentially, what we do is we look at others and we will take segments of each and every person that we like, are entertained by, respect, and we'll kind of take a small part of their personality and embed it within our own. And we will then do that with 100, 200 different people. That's why we're all different, because we've all met different people, and therefore the small segment that we've taken has basically created this concoction of different people that has made us unique. And so what we have to do is think about what are those individual things, And in me, what do they look like to others? Meaning that what would others take from me? You know, so my example would be, I feel like in every video on my personal channel, which is on the screen, I'm drinking a white Monster. And so I've kind of just kept to the theme. Like pretty much in every video, you'll see one. So pretty much every video, I'm going to keep drinking one. You know, because there are elements of things that help you to be different. And it could be visual. It could be the Alex Hormozy nose strip. It could be drinking, like me drinking a Monster. It could be smoking something. It could be talking about something. It could be wearing something, doing something, being somewhere, speaking like something, about something, with a certain accent, from a certain origin, a certain skin color. It can be any number of things. You just have to understand that from the outsider's perspective, what that thing is, and then portray it in every video. Another hack that I've seen work for certain creators in becoming AI proof is the parasocial relationship. Now, this is something that I think some creators see as quite an intimidating and scary approach if they feel like the people that are on their OnlyFans page know everything about them. Like, I understand that's a little bit scary, but actually it's also the very reason why they are likely even on the page, because they just feel like they know you. And as I've said a number of times, you know, that cannot be replaced by AI. The vast majority of creators will create a page, post photos, post videos, use trending audio, use text on screen. All of the above can be done with AI, right? And so we know that that in itself is not AI proof, but the parasocial element of, oh yeah, like, that's funny, you know, I had that inside joke with that guy because, or that girl, because I saw that on stream, or because I watched that on their channel, or I've heard them say that before. It could be a joke, you know, it could be shared history. It doesn't matter what it is exactly, if it gives them the feeling of, I know who this person is. People don't subscribe to the video. They don't subscribe to the trend. They don't even subscribe to the niche. They subscribe to people. It doesn't matter what platform it is, OnlyFans, YouTube, Instagram, whatever. They subscribe to people. So work on your person, not your content. The majority of the AI proofing that you need to do really happens in the short form, because with long form content, a lot of the time the AI proofing is already in place by the mass personality that will be shown over the course of longer form content, and or the parasocial relationship that you'll likely build. So although I don't completely think that long form content as a whole is AI proof, I think it's much easier to be in a state of being proofed from AI at this moment. I think if you're gonna put your focus on AI proofing, focus on short form first. Most of the people that view your short form content are non-followers, so they're essentially new people that you've been given the chance to show off instantly all of your personality to. It's at this stage that you have to communicate these cues that we spoke about, these things that make you different, these drinking of the energy drinks, these certain phrases or actions or familiar reactions that you have. It's essential that that comes across to these non-followers and new viewers soon. Because once you've found those verticals that communicate your brand ability to non-followers and new viewers quickly, it's very, very scalable, because when you post again, that whole process of showing that personality to new people happens again and again and again. So you can quite literally repeat the same process of showing all of your personality to non-followers and new viewers again and again and again, until eventually you've built an incredibly powerful brand. And now not only are you showing to a bunch of new people, but actually there's shitloads of people that already follow you and love your stuff and are already subscribed that continue to watch, because now they feel like they know you because they've kept seeing these same cues. It's without doubt a common theme amongst creators to feel like, oh, I don't want to produce that content again because surely everybody's bored of it right now. Only you watch every single video thoroughly and remember all of your videos. Only you. Because the vast majority of people that are watching it are non-followers, new viewers that haven't seen it before, or they're subscribers that watch you and a plethora of other creators and likely don't watch every single video, meaning that they probably haven't even seen it before. If they did, they've forgotten it, or it's blended in with the 3,000 other videos that they've watched this year. All that AI is doing is just crushing the industry down. So those that don't have a branding, that aren't different to others, are just getting squashed out the bottom, and those that do are just getting pushed up to the top because their competition is being wiped out and they are becoming more of the rarity, meaning that they are allowed to access more market share for the same unit of content that they originally shot. Ask yourself this: if your page disappeared today, would anybody even remember the username? Because if the answer is yes, then you're doing something right and keep going with that. And if the answer is no, then hopefully this video has given you a little bit of context on maybe why that is or what you can do about it to fix it. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.